travel enough, and you slowly start to notice that every country is quietly running its own grand experiment in how to actually live. Most of the differences between them are small and forgettable. But every so often you stumble onto a place that has simply gotten something genuinely fundamental right, something the rest of the world is still clumsily fumbling with. And once you have seen it clearly, you find you cannot ever quite unsee it again. Korea is absolutely full of these quiet moments of recognition. Not because Koreans are somehow smarter or richer than anyone else, but because the culture keeps making a particular set of small choices that quietly add up to a smoother, safer, far more considered daily life. Here is what Korea gets right that so very many of the rest of us still do not. It gets safety right. In Korea, a deep sense of basic physical safety is so completely woven into daily life that most people barely consciously think about it at all. They walk home alone late at night without a second thought, leave their belongings unattended to hold a seat, and let young children ride the subway across the city entirely by themselves. This is not blind luck or happy accident. It is the steady product of a dense, watchful, deeply social society where public space is genuinely shared and quietly looked after by everyone in it. That simple, profound freedom of not having to feel afraid all the time turns out to be one of the single, most underrated luxuries a place can possibly offer. It gets public space right. The streets, the stations, the parks, and the bathrooms across Korea are, by and large, clean, functional, and treated as everyone's shared responsibility rather than nobody's particular problem. People keep their voices low on the train, line up neatly without ever being told to, and quietly clean up after themselves as a matter of course. The deep, unspoken agreement is that the commons belong to all of us together, and so all of us quietly help to maintain them. The result is a public realm that visibly feels cared for, which in turn makes each new person who passes through it that much more inclined to care for it too. It gets convenience right by treating it as a basic right rather than a treat. In Korea, the small conveniences of daily life, a hot meal at any hour, a delivery that genuinely arrives fast, a service that is simply open the moment you actually need it, are not rare luxuries you pay some steep premium to enjoy. They are the ordinary, expected baseline. The culture seems to have quietly decided, long ago, that the time and comfort of ordinary people genuinely matter, and then went ahead and built the whole country accordingly. Convenience here is not pampering or indulgence. It is a basic, practical respect for the simple fact that everyone's day is already full and their time is finite. It gets speed right. The famous Pali spirit, quickly, is very often described from the outside as mere impatience, but underneath it is something quieter and kinder, a genuine refusal to needlessly waste another person's time. Things get fixed fast, lines keep moving fast, problems get solved fast, because making someone wait around pointlessly is quietly understood here as a small but real disrespect. In a world where so much of our lives is spent waiting, on hold, in a queue, for a delivery, for a reply, a whole culture quietly organized around simply not wasting your time starts to feel almost radical. It gets food right. Eating in Korea is communal, generous, and built from the ground up for sharing, with dishes set in the middle of the table, free side dishes that keep coming, water always within easy reach, and meals plainly meant to be lingered over slowly with other people. Food is not just fuel to be grabbed alone and eaten standing at a desk. It is treated as a genuine daily reason to slow right down and simply be together. That deep instinct to treat eating as a warm social act rather than a private refueling stop quietly ends up nourishing something a good deal deeper than just the body. It gets access to care right. When you fall sick in Korea, you can usually see a doctor quickly, often the very same day, pay a modest and entirely predictable amount, and pick up your medicine from a pharmacy right around the corner. Getting yourself better is treated as something that ought to be easy and affordable, not a draining bureaucratic ordeal or a frightening financial gamble. A society that quietly makes basic care this accessible is making a clear, unspoken statement about what it actually values, and ordinary people genuinely feel that security humming away in the background of their daily lives. It gets self-care right. Koreans broadly treat looking after the body, the skin, and the appearance as plain, ordinary daily maintenance rather than as vanity or self-indulgence. Daily sun protection, careful little routines, regular movement, weekend hikes up the nearest mountain, all of it quietly framed as simply taking proper care of the one body you happen to get. What can easily look from the outside like a national obsession is, just underneath the surface, a patient, deeply practical respect for long-term health. It is the small, unglamorous daily upkeep that quietly pays itself back many times over across an entire lifetime. It gets community and density right. Cramming millions of people into tight shared space could easily breed friction and misery, and yet Korea largely turns it into a strength, with neighborhoods where schools, shops, clinics, and homes sit woven together within a short walk. Closeness is treated as something to design around carefully, not simply endure. The everyday result is a kind of effortless access, where the pieces of a full life are rarely far away, and where being surrounded by other people quietly becomes a source of convenience and safety rather than constant stress. And above all else, it gets one core mindset right: the simple, stubborn refusal to ever accept that the way things currently are is just the way they must always be. The cold seat, the lost key, the long pointless wait, the wasted food, none of it is quietly treated as a permanent, unchangeable fact of life. Each one is instead seen as a problem that someone, somewhere, could actually solve. And so, sooner or later, someone genuinely does. That restless, almost defiant conviction that ordinary daily life can always be made just a little bit better is perhaps the single most valuable thing Korea gets right of all, because it is the quiet engine humming away beneath every other thing on this entire list. It is worth being honest, too, because no place is a paradise. This very same intensity carries a real and heavy cost. The relentless drive that fixes daily problems so impressively fast also quietly fuels punishing hours, fierce competition, and serious social pressure, and Koreans themselves debate and wrestle with it constantly. Getting some important things genuinely right does not mean getting every single thing right, and it never could. But that honesty is exactly why the real lessons here are still so worth taking. The goal was never to copy Korea wholesale, flaws and all. It is simply to clearly notice the specific things it has plainly gotten right, and then to quietly ask ourselves why on earth we still keep settling for so much less. Because in the very end, that is the real, lasting takeaway, and it has almost nothing to do with one country being somehow better than another. It is the simple, uncomfortable realization that nearly every small misery we quietly accept as completely normal, the low fear, the endless waiting, the casual waste, the daily friction, is, underneath it all, a choice. A choice made by all of us, over and over, every single day, simply by never once stopping to question it. Korea's quiet gift to anyone actually paying attention is the plain, living proof that it really can be done differently. The floors can be warm, the streets can be safe, the food can be shared, and your time, your finite time, can be genuinely respected. The only real question left hanging in the air is why, knowing now that all of that is so clearly possible, we still keep choosing to settle for so much less.